It had to happen once during the grand final. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is MLP johnxfire, and we are here for the 5th game of this best of 5 grand final for the Loopbet Pro Series Season 7 between Fnatic and Galaxy Racer Esports. I did mute myself trying to make that intro, but we are here now. John, how you doing, sir? Game 5.
I'm doing great. This is like only the second time in recent memory for me that we've reached this point in the Pro Series finals. GXR bringing up a great set of fights up against Fnatic, and Fnatic kind of making some strange decisions at the end. Like, they forced the fight against Sedusa Rapier, and they had a lot of time to see that Rapier as well. It shouldn't have been a surprise. They were fighting there for a good solid 15, 20 seconds already, seeing the Dusa. So they should have known that the Rapier is there, and maybe they just underestimate the damage output, overestimate their own sustain coming out. They got punished. Suddenly, the push coming through from GXR, they had the foresight, the mindset to just run down mid, get the win, and just turned it from there. Fnatic, they had a 2-game lead. Game 3, they went back to Chen and support Luna, and they went for a much more standard draft in Game 4. GXR did as well. They went for big win conditions, fighting against each other. And now, well, they are 1 game away from winning, 1 game away from losing. GXR in the same spot. They must be feeling great. GXR, they had a rough start, but when you win 2 back-to-back like that, the morale is through the roof. So we'll have to see if the mindsets are going to kind of play a big factor here. You have to remember Fnatic have played 6 games before this one. And that's a lot of Dota to play even for a professional team. So we'll have to see if they can kind of carry through, kind of endure this onslaught from GXR, and we'll have to see if GXR can, level it out, get back to a stable point, and look for that win.
I mean, they're going back to that Jabs Rubik, it seems like. So it worked in the previous series in the lower bracket final. Jabs was really playing out of his mind on this Rubik. He sees the Nyx Assassin. He wants to go down the Rubik route immediately. Fair enough. The Impel is one of the better spells you can steal as this hero. Fnatic, how do they want to follow up? I mean, 2 games in a row now that just hasn't worked out. They went from undefeated today to losing 2 games in a row now. 1 game away from losing this grand final, and they're going back to the Terrorblade. They're running it back.
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. Raven was having a good time farming up. He wasn't quite in the lead, which is the main concern for Fnatic. They really didn't put the lid on In Your Dreams farm up. He just managed to really build up. It's a Dusa. They gave it a lot of jungle space. It really did just reach the point where it was critical mass. And I love the response from Galaxy Racer. They go into the Darkseer Nyx. So they've got this amazing offlane duo, really tanky for the most part. A lot of damage that flies through. The Ion Shell is going to be super annoying for Terrorblade. Your high armor is not going to do anything to stop that constant burn damage from coming through. And we have seen replicants do a lot of work, right? Like the Vac wall on the Terrorblade Metamorphosis, that can just ruin Raven as well once he's farmed up. So there's a lot that GXR can play with now from their offlane, and this should be a pretty interesting way to get it done. Like, they've already built up into the Vac combination with Nyx, the lane combination, the counter to Terrorblade. It's down to Fnatic to see what they want to do to kind of counteract it. I love that GXR banned out the Ench. They understand that Enchantress can just enchant one of those replicants and turn it against you. So no option for that from Fnatic to help the cause here.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely fair enough. Fnatic, they're going to get rid of the Medusa as well. They don't want to run the risk of having to go into that again within your dream. And I mean, quite frankly, I think Fnatic knows that's a game they really shouldn't have lost. But here we are. So just don't want to go against this Medusa again. I mean, in your dream, you could just go Divine Rapier again. And, you never know what's going to happen in this game 5. Still Fnatic, 1 more ban to go before we can continue with this draft. Maybe just get rid of another position 1 here for Fnatic. You still have the Luna there, but as when you pick up Terrorblade, you're not really afraid of going against Luna. Generally, you're more than happy if the enemy team picks that hero up.
I mean, there's a lot of options for GXR. Like, even if the Luna's banned, as you said, Luna into Terrorblade can be a bit dicey anyway. Although we have seen a lot of people willing to do that because you just build a Manta. So you just dispel off the refraction. That can be one way. I think there's still an option for, say, the Gyrocopter to come out for In Your Dream. There are still the big stable pause ones as well. You could go back to something like the Life Sealer. You could go back to something like the Jug. Just a stable foundation to build off with your Darkseer. I don't think that's too bad as well, depending on what they take on mid. You can see Fnatic, they just respect ban the Alacrity Void Spirit. He's done a lot of good work with that Void Spirit. He just targets the back line. The Ag's timing he hits is almost always on point, and it has been difficult for Fnatic to play against that. So, great respect ban. They took a lot of their reserve time to do that. GXR, they have all the reserve time in place. They've actually blasted through this draft. We've got to see what they've got in store. And that option for Luna, as mentioned, it's still there.
Wow.
Fnatic into the Disruptor. So, I mean, it's one way to handle Darkseer with Surge, right? We talk about that all the time. You can just glimpse them back, so you can't really escape with that spell. But we have also seen Disruptors fall flat. Like, if you don't manage to use your Static Storm Kinetic Field in a meaningful way, then it doesn't feel like you have impact. So you just have to ensure that the team fights work in your favor when you use that. I guess there's some synergy here. If Rubik steals, say, a Vac, makes it perfectly easy for the Disruptor to get that combination in, and it's not too hard for Rubik to get that, or, say, the Impale from Nyx. So you do have much more control here for Fnatic, especially compared to that last game.
Third pickup's going to be the Lesh again. So GXR, they might be going back to that position 1 Lesh. I suppose you could run the mid Lesh for Alacrity. Generally speaking, we see it on In Your Dream a lot if they do go ahead and pick up the Lesh rack. And obviously against the Terrorblade, it does do a pretty darn good job. Especially through the early to mid game. Just so much magic damage to pump out. Fnatic, how are they going to respond? It is a very flexible pick here for GXR. So it's kind of hard to know exactly what the game plan is. They'll go straight into the Conquer pickup.
It's an interesting choice. It does build up in their team fight with the Disruptor. It gives them another way of holding back surged opponents. So you've got the X to hold them back. Just drag them back into the Torrent. Boat combination. The boat can be very helpful here, especially for the Terrorblade, considering his matchup against the Lesh down the line. The added durability can buy a lot of time for the Terrorblade to at least get the Sunder off. So there is more coming out there. And of course, we have seen Kunkkas be a massive nuisance as the game goes late. Torrent Storm, Tidal Wave are pretty disruptive spells. So if you can hit those farming spikes on the Kunkka, eventually BKBs start to fade down to 6 seconds. Torrent Storm feels like it lasts forever in a fight, so you can just use that after the BKBs. Just get the control and break up the engagement from Galaxy Racer. This is one nice way to do that. GXR, they do go into the spec, so this is looking like our Tricore in hand, Alacrity, Leshrac perhaps coming through here on the mid. And looking at that matchup, expecting a Kunkka mid here for Fnatic in that route, it does feel a lot better for the Lesh. Now, you could still give Death the Kunkka offlane instead, run something else mid. We have not seen offlane Kunkka too often, but it has came in once or twice. I think I believe we saw Masterus play it once. So some players still do it, and it still has that same impact. It can be pretty darn good to hold down a Spectre now, right? If you see the Haunt escape, as long as you have your X up, Spectre might not be able to run away. And now you've got this weird farm fight where Spectre will take a very long time to hit a big stride. Terrorblade comes online much quicker. It's not even like Medusa versus Terrorblade, where it's kind of matching for the most part outside of Metamorphosis. Spectre will take more time, and your lineup will have to really compensate for that. You could fight with early Haunt. It doesn't feel like the most impactful, although I guess you've got Spectre Darkseer, so you can kind of Iron Shell Haunt and just kill some softer targets in the back as well.
Very true. I'm thinking maybe Fnatic might go down the route of like the Viper offlane here against the Spectre. Like you have the natural break. It makes it kind of impossible to lane against. And it's flexible as well. Like if you wanted to run the Kunkka offlane, run the mid Viper, you could kind of switch things up. It is available if they want to go down that route. I can't remember seeing Death playing it recently because it's a rather boring hero, let's be honest. But you know, usually it is Raven taking the Viper pos one. But I do think it might have some value here. Still, GXR, they're going to go for the Winter Wyvern pickup to finish things off. I think Paulson was doing a great job last game around on that Wyvern. Fnatic, 22 seconds reserve time left. The final game of the Lupe Pro Series 7. How do you finish off this draft? I mean, it's got to be an offlane here, I think, for Death. I do believe they're going to run the mid Conquer here. Okay, Brewmaster.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they've got that nice disruptive offlaner now. It can be really annoying for a Spectre as a melee hero to lane up against that. You have decent ways of igniting. You have a good hold on Rubik. maybe just playing with a Fade Bolt to lift up. So In Your Dream's not going to have the freest lane. It's going to have to contend with minus attack damage, a lot of damage coming through from that. They should be able to put a lid on the Spectre early on. Lots of pressure on Paulson to get the aggression out in the lane to distract the side of Fnatic away from the Spec. And this is another very even draft from both sides. It's just down to getting their win conditions up. We saw Raven and In Your Dream fight it out last time. And this time with Spectre versus Terrorblade, it doesn't feel as insane towards the late game. Like In Your Dream, Spectre is not an amazing Divine carry. So you shouldn't end up in the same situation where you just run up, you get Divine, and suddenly your towers are gone from bad team fight. Your Ancient's gone as well. The Spectre is a much more slow burn, slow build up. We'll just have to see if GXR can buy that space out.
Every time we see the Spectre, it makes me like very worried about the team that has the Spectre. I feel like In Your Dream, though, he's one of those players that still makes it work in games where it just doesn't seem like it should work. Very intrigued to see how this one does pan out. It is the final game of the whole tournament. John, final question for you, sir. Who came out with the better draft in your opinion? For the final time.
It's harder to call. I know the Spectre has not had a good run in the games we've casted, but I think there's a method to the madness here. Again, I feel like Iron Shell plus Haunt is very scary. So your early Haunt actually has presence, and if you go for the Echo Saber build, you can kind of build up in that. If you go for the Blade Nail build, your farming pace can keep up with a Terrorblade, but it's not going to feel amazing. Your early impact with Haunt is going to be limited, and that just means more pressure on GXR to play as 4. I think overall, Fnatic has easier ways to pull off this timing with the Terrorblade, and that's where it all boils down to. If the Terrorblade comes up by 25 minutes, much more farm than the Spec, there's not going to be a lot of room for In Your Dream to kind of recover there.
Okay, we'll move into a game number 5 of this best of 5 grand final now underway. Fnatic, I wonder how they feel right now. Like they're 2 games up in this BO5, and then they end up losing the next 2 games. GXR, of course, probably feeling some momentum now. So they are looking to get the reverse sweep going their way. It must be a bit of a hard position for Fnatic, you know, understanding how much of an advantage you had and now ending up at this point. And this is officially the 7th game of the night they're playing, so they must be quite tired now.
Yeah, it's just a marathon for Fnatic. It's one of those things, you know, you play through lower bracket, you kind of have to deal with that as sort of an advantage for the upper bracket team. Mitsu still asking. Chuan is still going for it. Like, dang.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like, you know, grand final's about to be over. Maybe some Atomic War afterwards.
30 seconds.
Oh god, everyone's into it. I wonder how often they play with Army Geniuses, because those guys are the Atomic War geniuses, you know? Every night I see them playing, that's it. Every night.
Yep.
Just Atomic War, that's it. All of my friends are just playing Atomic War as well. It's nuts. It's fun. So I can't fault them, you know?
I don't know, I haven't had fun in the game
Fun
yet.
for them.
I'll be honest.
I don't know, I mean, it's fun for me the first time, and it's mainly fun because Nina and Neff are both making fun of me. So that's my enjoyment. If I play alone, it's just sad. You know, it's just me being bad with no one to laugh at it. It's like a joke that's not funny when it's just me, so it's not as entertaining.
Bottom lane, Mizu on the Darkseer. You've got Jocam there on the Nyx Assassin, and you are going to be up against DJ on the Disruptor. Raven on that TB once again. This time around, I'd argue it's a much more difficult lane here for Raven on that Terrorblade, especially once the Metamorphosis does go down. You should be able to start to get rather aggressive here with this double Iron Shell combination. Then again, DJ, he might be able to protect him on the Disruptor. Hard to say though, this support Disruptor hasn't looked amazing for quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen Disruptors be highly impactful, and they're doing a good job. Raven has dropped fairly low in HP. They're cutting off DJ as well. They're getting the pulse off. Jocam is dropping low for that, though.
Yeah, he's going for the pull away. Mizu's going to buy him the space to do so. He'll take a bit of harassment himself. I suppose this is one of the big power spikes of DJ at level 1 of this Disruptor, is you could just spam the static, or the Thunder Strike with the mangoes. Over and over again.
Yep, the damage does pile up. It doesn't stop this pull. So you're going to get that steady influx of EXP going for GXR. We'll have to see how the lane shapes up. As you like to point out, level 2 Iron Shells when it gets spicy for the Darkseer. So we'll see if Raven gets enough before that massive spike. Do have the chance to look down mid. We've got Chuen on that Kunkka up against Alacrity's Lesh, and this should feel really nice for the Leshrac. Like, Chuen can play around with the Tidebringer, but the damage output of Alacrity, if he just lands the Splitter, maybe looks for the Edict if he isolates Chuen, can be pretty nice. Wave clear is very stable for Alacrity as well with those spells, so he's not going to be completely blown out of lane with the Kunkka here, and it should even out for the most part in farm. The one thing the Kunkka has a little bit better is that his Tidebringer is a lot easier to land. It doesn't cost mana, it's just an AoE right-click spell, and that means your harassment on Alacrity should be more consistent.
Till this day I miss Daedalus Rush Kunkka. Those were the days.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think it's
it
ever
was,
happening again, but those were the days.
It was like Shadow Blade, Crystallis, Daedalus. That's the build-up. It used to be so fun.
Oh, it was. Top lane, you've got In Your Dream and Paulson there on the Spectre Winter Wyvern. They are going to be up against Death and Jabs. The Brewmaster and Rubik combination can be quite devastating as well. So you can ignite the Cinder Brew with the Fade Bolt. There's just so much magic damage. For now though, Jabs, he's going to be able to back off, maybe start stacking that triangle early on. For now, In Your Dream, I mean, he's not doing too badly. He's at 10 CS, a little bit behind in terms of the carries, but it's not too big of a deal. It's to be expected.
I think you're pretty fine in this situation. You're not getting harassed out by the early Cinder Brew that can come in from Death. You're still finding some farm. Paulson's doing a good job of just harassing out with a Splinter Blast whenever Death does come close. And the Arctic Burn, because it is HP scaling, does rip through Death. He's a high HP hero. Percent damage does feel a lot stronger against them. And for the most part, you're not really completely zoning the Spectre out. Maybe once you have more levels up here on Jabs, you can start to consider that. But for the most part, this does look to be a more passive lane coming through. And it really boils down to cutting off the pulls, cutting off the stacks that Paulson will want to build up as well. So we'll just have to see if Jabs can prevent that. Already a pull here that Jabs is contesting. So it's not smooth going for Paulson.
Bot lane, Jocam almost just drops there. He'll have to run all the way back to the fountain, but he did survive on about 25 HP on that Nyx Assassin. One more hit would have done it, but they just could not reach behind that tier 1 tower. Looks like Paulson does indeed get caught out on that Winter Wyvern. Arctic Burn, he's trying to run to the high ground, but no, the lift is there from Jabs. That should be first blood. His Death will take it on the Brewmaster. He even picks up his urn at the exact same time. 2 charges up.
Yeah, great feeling there for Fnatic. Just managing to isolate that Winter Wyvern. I guess in the end, GXR could say, you know, In Your Dream gets some space. He's not the one copying the spells. He's managed to still keep track with Raven's terribly down bot. So overall, not the worst case scenario for this lane. So you are just wanting to get your Spectre up to that point. Still keen to see what In Your Dream goes for. Whether or not it's the Blade Mail or Echo Saber, we'll have to watch as the burn damage can build up. And Paulson's at least back to relieve some of the pressure. He is going to have to look for some regen on hand now.
Man, Mizu's having a really good time, this bot lane. Like, on this Darks here, top of the sea. In fact, hold that thought, because In Your Dream does end up dropping extremely low now on the Spectre. And I suppose with the urn charges available on your Brewmaster, you have a lot more kill potential onto In Your Dream. But going back to what I was saying, Mizu, well, I suppose I spoke too soon, John. He was having a very good time. Then, you know, yeah, you had your rotation in from the Kunkka. And turns out Mizu's not having such a great time anymore.
Yeah, that's some good space for Alacrity though. Like, he does pop the Diabolic Edict trying to sneak behind. Fortify does cut it off, but now you're down Fortify until a tower falls or until the cooldown's off. So there's a massive window for Alacrity to just do that again. And that's a great kill for Fnatic still. Relieve some of the pressure for Raven. He can just go back to just building up his farm while possible. And as you mentioned, you know, Mizu, with the levels up, the Iron Shell can really bully out a Terrorblade. Your armor doesn't care for it, so it is hard to sustain that burn, and there's not much a Disruptor can really do to stop that.
DJ, sort of deny there on the Arcane Rune. Mizu, he was around, but didn't want to bother trying to chase the Disruptor. Rather just keep the farm up in the triangle. I mean, he had such a great start on that Darkseer, he just doesn't want to really slow it down now, and that's completely understandable. Naturally, he does want a quick Aghanim Scepter, though a nice Nice kinetic field there, gonna hold him down. They will get an impel out. Mizu gonna be glimpsed back immediately, and in your dream, no, he doesn't get the hit off. Jocam still chasing him down. Raven, he's yeah, he's gone.
Oh my
the Iron
God.
Shell. Gonna be more than enough here from Jocam. Raven, he was one hit away from killing this Darkseer, but just doesn't get it off, and now Jocam, he's gonna find another. Mizu, he'll claim all the gold for it as well.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, it's
Radiant's
an
middle
excellent
tower
bounce
has
back
fallen.
there for the side of GXR. Well, that happens. They also get the split push going with Alacrity, and it's down to the fact that they preemptively popped that Fortify. So he just runs in with a Max Edict, melts the mid-tier 1, lots of space opening up for GXR. And now it's down to Fnatic to have to find a way to slow this pace. They are going for plays up top, though.
Yeah, I mean, they'll find Paulson. Cold Embrace is going to be there. Death, he'll stick around. And if you really need it, you have the Primal Split, but they won't need that. Be able to get the Winter Wyvern killed just fine. In your dream, he's still not really afraid. He's still just farming the creep wave. Torrent is there. It's not going to land, and well, they'll get the X off.
Bottom tower
They won't have that many spells to throw out, but they do still have the Primal Split if they want it. So Alacrity has rotated now, and that's going to force the Primal Split out. They'll still go for the fight. Alacrity, he is dropping rather low now. Blown up, they stun him up again, and maybe this rotation doesn't work out, but the Cold Embrace is going to make it in time from Paulson. That will buy enough time. Death, he'll get another stun away, but it's not going to be enough to kill off Alacrity as now Jabs rotates in. It's the world against Alacrity, but he is still not dying. They do finally get him though. Jabs, he's able to take the kill on the Rubik.
That's right.
Took him a while, but they'll get there.
Yeah, and that's important. They managed to slow down the pacemaker here of GXR. Just apply that pressure, although the Han.
Yeah, they want to go on to Death. They have Jocam with the rotation, but a massive torrent into the boat. Chuen, he X'd himself back. He kind of faked his TP back to the fountain. Death, he's still alive. He gets a thunderclap off. In
What?
your dream, he's trying so hard to reach him. He can't reach him in time. Oh, in your dream, he was an inch away, John. He had his arms stretched out, but nothing was happening.
Oh man, that's not the way you want your first haunt to go here for GXR. Great punishment out from Fnatic. I thought even the dispersion might have been enough to kill that, but just not there. Like he gets to just run away scot-free, and they find more.
Well, Spike Carapace gonna buy some time. Impel gonna be off the mark, and Chuen, he'll happily take the kill for himself. I mean, regardless of his mid-tier 1 tower dropping, Chuen's just having a great time regardless. Setting up some fantastic kills across the map. And on the other side of things, Alacrity is what I was meant to be looking at. He's just farming the triangle right now. It's just, he tried to make that rotation earlier, didn't work out. They try to go for it again, still doesn't work out. I think Alacrity, he's just had enough of that top lane. He'll just farm the jungle for a little bit.
He doesn't have any initial item up yet, no Yules, no travels. So it is harder for him to just set up by himself. He's gonna need at least one stopgap item to really get the pressure going. On the side of GXR, looks like they might line up for a bit of a bot tier 1. They need to open up the map a little bit more here to secure space for In Your Dream without worrying about the TPs. And going back to In Your Dream's build, he is going Blade Mail. He's going for the slower build up, just looking to clear camps with Dispersion and Blade Mail return damage. That should lead to faster farm for In Your Dream, but less presence with the initial haunts. I think he understands that the rest of the draft will have to compensate for it. So we're not going to see the early sort of Iron Shell haunts to really find some kills to snowball. A much more tempered game here for In Your Dream to just keep building up, although
Big rotations down. Impel gonna land on DJ to ensure the glimpse back is not there, but Chuen. Torrent is gonna land, but he had the Spike Carapace out. Still, they'll get the kinetic field down, and they should at least be able to get Jocam. Impel, though, is gonna buy more time as the glimpse sends him back the other way, but the Tidebringer is there on his own illusion. Very, very nice there from Chuen. That'll mean a 7-2 now Fnatic's way, and they do still hold the net worth lead, but just less than 1k.
they've got a massive kill lead on hand, and they're just keeping up this aggression. They smoke up again. They still have the boat here. They've got the Static Storm as well. Could be big if they catch this one out in Your Dream.
Yeah, and they will X. Yeah, he's going to be able to make it in time. They will glimpse back, stacking up the stuns, but it won't really matter. Boat is going to be enough. They just needed a way to break the gap.
The devil to pay.
In your dream, I mean, it's always a struggle with this Spectre. He's got the blade mail up, that should help him escalate a little bit, but when you compare it to how well Raven's going to be able to escalate on the Terrorblade, you do start to get a little bit concerned here if you're a GXR fan.
Yeah, it's just not as fast. And you can see collapsing on mid-tier 1, trying to dive deep for a kill.
Well, glimpse back, Pulse, and that is so much damage with the Tidebringer. He is still alive, though. They'll haunt him within your dream onto Jabs. They'll try to get the Rubik down. He has no damage with the vacuums there. Dragging 3 of them back. DJ, Static Storm going to be dropped, but he is dead as well. They'll go for the Primal Split. Back into In Your Dream. And the Torrent is going to be there just in case, but Raven, he was able to take the kill himself. Cyclone up the left track, set up for another kill if they can get it. X is available to use on Alacrity. Tidebringer just, it's so much damage on that left rack. They'll get him down. Death will take another. And now the stolen wall is there from Jabs. Dragging Mizu right back into his own wall, and Raven, he can just get to work. Jokam's trying to get a kill, but Raven, he'll get the Sunder out. It's basically a full team wipe. Just so clean from Fnatic.
And this execution from Fnatic, it's shaping up so well. They managed to get the heroes they want to catch out. They bait the Haunt in from In Your Dream, and he doesn't really find a massive kill to kind of build up. And it just goes back to the Blade Mail. Like, it is sort of nice in some early fights to reflect the damage back. It doesn't feel better than, say, the Echo Saber build we've seen once or twice before. And it just means that In Your Dream should just look for his camps, look for the jungle, clear out the Ancients, get some farm. Maybe when you have a Yasha, that Haunt starts to feel better. Really, you're looking at a Manta timing here. Before that, you have to take it slow. You have to have that patience. GXR, they've done it before with his Spectre. You know, they don't expect him to join these early fights. They just want him to farm. He needs to just do that and believe that GXR can buy the space. But look at this Fnatic. They're just not relenting.
No, they are not.
Dire's middle tower is
Chuen, he's been very good on this Conquer. Just very, very active. It seems like Alacrity knows something's awry here. He'll hide into the tree line, break some trees down, and get even deeper into that forest. Fnatic, I mean, they could still go for that tier 1 top tower here if they wish. You know, not all is lost with this rotation, but it looks like they don't feel confident enough to quite go for that yet. I say that Raven is here now. That should be enough. He'll get started on it.
Yep, he's got the damage. No Metamorphosis, but not really necessary. Alacrity, I'm just going to hang around looking for an opportunity. GXR could look for TP plays, but the tower's way too low to commit. Looks like he is just going to have to bail out. Nice objective taken by Fnatic. Should help them to overtake that top jungle and just get more farm. Raven's up there in net worth right now, 6.9k. Very nice number. Chuan just right behind him. And the rest of GXR, not too far off, but look at how far In Your Dream is in comparison. 5.7k net worth, a full 1.2, 1.3k behind. And that's just Spectre farm. It's just not quick. It's going to take a lot more time for GXR to get to that point where their Spectre feels even with the Terrorblade.
It's going to take a very long time. GXR, you've got the Ags up now on Mizu, so you might be able to get even more aggressive. And this is one of the big power spikes for this draft of GXR, is once this Ags is there. You've got Jokam with Vendetta if he wants to start trying to abuse that with the Iron Shell. And he will. We'll pop the Vendetta immediately. Haunt is available to boot, so you can have that added kind of support in from In Your Dream if you do need it. Jokam, he's going right up towards the top lane. He wants to try and maybe catch out DJ, or we even got Raven there on the Terrorblade, which is the much bigger target if you could catch him. Alacrity even going to be around to help out when they do need it. Meta's going to be popped instantly from Raven. Kinetic Field going to hold Alacrity in, but he'll get the Yule Scepter off. Jokam still sneaking up from the backside, but no, it's going to be Chuen that is there. Jokam still trying to come in, but the Static Storm's going to be dropped. DJ, he's going to survive, and Jokam, he just kept running forward.
Yeah, it's just all the sentries that Fnatic committed. They expected that play to happen. They just read it. I believe they were spotted by the sentry obs by the triangle area. So they managed to just turn it around, catch out, and punish the core and support. And Fnatic, you know, they aren't building up a huge net worth lead, but they're keeping these heroes down. And Raven's just feeling big, although he has to be careful.
Vac wall is there. Raven, he's taking a substantial amount of damage, but he will sunder on the illusion and he'll be just fine. The GXR, they didn't really have the whole crew around to actually try to capitalize off that. Hell, with the amount of net worth Raven has right now, I don't think they would have really been able to secure the kill anyway. He'll just back off, back to farming here for this TB. Because in your dream, across the map doing the exact same thing, trying to work towards his Manta style. That net worth differential just keeps increasing. Mid lane, Alacrity, going to be X'd up here. Chuen looking to set up with the Torrent. No, Lift is there first. Now Torrent comes out. Alacrity, he does actually take it. Jocam's there onto Jabs. Boat is not going to connect. They've got the Rubik down and now the Haunt's in. They will still be able to get Alacrity. It's in your dream, not really able to capitalize off the Haunt. And in the end, Fnatic, they lose Jabs, but it's still a great trade for them. Mizu.
He's still...
I mean, DJ, he can't get in range for the glimpse, it looks like, and they won't have the vision. Mizu is going to be just fine.
They get some good wards down now, getting D wards up on the top jungle, preventing the vision game coming through from GXR, so it's restricting more map space where In Your Dream would like to farm. It's not going to be able to control the top jungle. Fnatic's just doing a good chokeout move here, keeping that Spectre locked in bot. And
Torrent, Jocam. No X-Evade. Look at the damage though. I mean, the Tidebringer hits him and he's just gone. Fnatic looking just much more confident as a team now in this game 5. I mean, GXR, they're not out of it yet, that's for sure. But 18 minutes in, 2k behind now. Not too bad. Problem is, a lot of your net worth on GXR is on Mizu. So it's the Darkseer effect. You know, he can farm really quickly, he can get a lot of kills with that Iron Shell. Is it going to transition later on? I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Thing is though, Roshan has begun now for Fnatic.
no double damage rune this time, so it does break the rule. But it's going to be a quick Roshan nonetheless. GXR not in position to really fight this one. Haunt's still on cooldown, so no possibility to just sneak up. And that's going to give more opportunities here for Fnatic to play aggressive. This could allow them to set up for the tier 2 into high ground if they manage to take that fight well. And GXR, they've just got to be cautious. They do have the blink here. I think the Vac wall is where it all lies for GXR. If they can get the big Vac wall, get a good amount of Terrorblade illusions going, and that's when the fight starts to feel more manageable.
Oh, nice spike. Carapace on the Tidebringer, but the lift is there from Jabs to try and help. Chuen is still trying to back the boat, is going to make it in time, and now they might be able to turn as the Sunder is in from Raven, buying him more time. They got Jocam down, Torrent's out as well. It's not look like a great team fight as Mizu, he gets X back from the fountain. And they just play it so well. Chuen, he bought himself more time with the armlet and the boat, and then you have the Sunder in from Raven. Just the perfect storm for GXR.
Oh yeah, and they can just keep resetting with the X, of course. They just drag back Raven back to farming. BKB almost done on the Terrorblade. Once you have that, your Leshrac damage disappears. The Iron Shell doesn't matter. The wall's going to be a bit harder to land there as well. At the very least, with the Vac on hand, it's going to be harder to drag him into the wall. So Fnatic's finding all the tools here. 20-5 at 20 minutes in, 5k lead. The side of GXR, we talked about these two cores on the Darkseer, on the Lesh, buying the space out. They're not quite yet. In Your Dream is still lagging behind. He's still not getting the space he needs. He's forced to show up in lanes for defense. In top tier 2, it's not going to last too long with this kind of damage coming through from Raven.
Chuen. In Your Dream, gonna get X'd up. That is the big target you want. A Torrent boat all gonna fly in, but a nice man to dodge. In Your Dream takes no damage, no stun. He is fine, and now the Haunt back in to get the vision. They've already killed off Jabs on the Rubik. That's just a really nice man to dodge. Had he not done that, you never would have really known what would have happened. Alacrity gonna try and move in. Jocam. They're unable to find anyone. So you get Jabs, you'll be happy with that if you're GXR. Fnatic, they'll have to go back to the drawing board.
They did manage to clear out the top tier 2, so in the end they get the objective in exchange for their sports life. Not too bad of a trade. It makes it rougher to hold the jungle up top. Next time around, Fnatic swings by, they could just go for the outpost capture and just hammer in for probably the next Roshan way down the line. Side of GXR, even with that one kill, they need to start finding cores. Mizu is waiting here, though.
Yeah, Vakwall is up, but he's going to blink the other way. Not willing to force a fight for nothing. BKB now up on Raven. Big smoke up Fnatic. It's going to be broken on Jokam. He'll try for the TP away, but no, they've got the X, they've got the lift, they've got enough. Big spike Carapace, but it won't matter. Jokam, he is still set to drop eventually. Death will be the one to take the kill with the Cinder Brew. There's Raven, he gets to work on the bot T1 tower. Feeling very confident now with the BKB up. Just take more objectives while the rest of the team is fighting. Even Chuen, he's still having a look around to find more targets with that X, but isn't going to be able to find anyone else.
They can start advancing towards that side lane tier 2, though. And they still have the Metamorphosis held back here for Raven. Aegis still has a minute and a half as well. A lot of time to just get these objectives done. The side of GXR, at the least, Haunt's not too far off. I mean, 46, 45 seconds is still a long time to wait with this kind of push coming through from Fnatic. But they will at least have that at some point for maybe an eventual high ground defense. And I think Fnatic will go for it. Like, Metamorphosis is still up, BKB on hand, Aegis ready. No reason to really step back here.
Well, they're not gonna. They'll move up to the tier 3 tower. Try and force the defense. We saw this in game 1 almost, right? It's kind of like the Medusa and the Spectre are the one and the same in some way. They just both need more farm to be ready to go. And Fnatic, they want to try and force it right here, right now.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Meta popped. No more games, but they don't have the creeps. They're coming, Raven. Get back to work. It'll be a bit of a hard defense here for GXR. I mean, maybe they just get away with only the tier 3 tower dropping, but GXR, it seems like they don't even want to allow that to happen. That's quite understandable at 23.5 minutes in. Yeah, Fnatic, it looks like they're going to be forced to back. They're just not feeling confident. They do force the rotations in from GXR, and that may just be enough.
Good timing to pull back as well. Their Aegis only really has, what, 4 seconds now? Does expire on the mark. So they didn't have the second life ready, and now they can just maybe wait out some items. The Scotty's almost up for Raven. I mean, still lacking 2 ports, but he's got 1 orb up, so he's got more stats to play with. And, of course, they're also close to building up the AC here in Chuen. It's still a ways off, but he does have the Hyperstone, so more damage is flying through here for the side of Fnatic. Death, of course, saving up for the Ags halfway through. And once you have that Ags and the Brewmaster, the double split in these team fights is really going to be causing a ton of issues for GXR. We've seen Death just split up the fights, isolate the heroes quite nicely, as you'd expect on a Brewmaster. And as long as he keeps that management up, keeps isolating the right heroes, the engagement for GXR just gets tougher and tougher. Fnatic are sticking together as a team quite nicely. GXR are trying to split up to get their farm efficiency up. And it is somewhat keeping up. I mean, the farm distribution of GXR, all the heroes are within a few hundred gold of each other. They're just severely lagging behind the Terrorblade. That's the big issue.
Raven, he'll reveal himself in the mid lane. Mizu still farming up that Radiant jungle. Could find himself in a spot of danger. The smoke will actually go right past him. Instead, they're going to run into Jokam. Dust will be eventually popped, and they got the X off. That should be a nice, easy Nyx Assassin kill. They probably would have preferred the Darkseer, but they literally just went above him.
Missing out on a bigger kill still opens up the mid-tier 2 push. They're going to be able to find that tower quite nicely. DJ's setting up for a kill in Paulson.
TP's back. Chuen is there. Paulson, X-Turret, boat, all to be thrown out. And he's alone. Paulson, he could try to go for the curse, but I don't think it'd be enough. Chuen just so dominant on this Kunkka 8, 1, and 13 now. He's just not he hasn't pulled off that gas pedal. Just been constantly going at it. The Dream now maybe been spotted there by our Kunkka. It seems like Chuen is more than comfortable to just run up the high ground, run right into the Spectre. Does go for the X back. Do they have enough help coming in though? I only see one hero. Spectre does get torrented up. DJ is there. You could glimpse him back. They are going to throw that out into the Static Storm now, but even with that, I don't think there's quite enough damage. Chuen, he's still trying. In Your Dreams dropping now, but Alacrity's joined in. Torrent Boat is out again, or rather the BKB, and they do have enough. He gets it's basically a solo pick-off. I mean, DJ was there with the ultimate. Now the glimpse back will force the BKB out of Alacrity. That's a really concerning sign when the Kunkka could just kill your Spectre like that.
There's just not enough in Your Dream to really tank up through that. Like, the damage coming through from Chuen is really good. Now the high ground opens up. They've got the Scotty running on Raven. There's so much damage flying through. The curse is now their high ground defense play here.
Very, very hard defense to ask for. Because they've got the shards up, so you got that reoccurring split earth going here for Alacrity, and Raven, he got caught in it for a second and is forced to pop his own BKB. But they may just leave it at that. BKB down, it won't be worth taking the risk here for Raven. GXR, they lose a tier 3 tower, but that's going to be about it. They'll be happy to hold, I think. Just wait out the next Roshan attempt and maybe fight over that. This is going to be up in about 1 minute 35 seconds. So, pretty average kind of timer here for that Roshan. That, I think as GXR, you can't really afford to let that one go the way of Fnatic.
No, you can't let the second Rosh go. Aegis Cheese Shard is just way too important as a major power spike, and of course, you're playing from behind. Now, there are a couple of tools here for GXR to play with. They've got the Ags and Jokam. He did sell literally everything he had for that. If you look at our Nyx right now, it's just Ags.
And 2 selves.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, you're on high ground defense. You know you're going to need the Ags. You're going to need the control. So this is worthwhile. It is a massive risk. Like, you're not going to have buyback gold, obviously. You're not going to have move speed. You can't scout around too well with Vendetta. You can't line up for pickoffs. So you don't have the opportunities to work the map. It's all about getting the impact in team fights. And speaking of Ags, you also finish up on Death. So he's got his double split ready to go. Back-to-back splits can, again, isolate the right heroes in these fights, force an awkward response from GXR. GXR, for their part, they're still venturing outside of base. They still have IYD all the way away and trying to farm up, but have to be a bit cautious as...
Yules, he's still got the X going. He'll be okay. Immediate smoke up from GXR. Roshan's 15 seconds away. They can win this fight. They can take the next Roshan, and if they lose it, well, you know what happens then. Fnatic's got it in their hands. GXR to the high ground of that Radiant Triangle. Roshan will officially be up now. Shards, Cheese, and the Aegis now available. Chuen looks like he wants to try and get it started. Smoke into the Roshan pit, but they were basically already there. They were spotted by that Obs Ward that was placed into the Radiant Triangle. Roshan, half HP. Metamorphosis is available for Raven. I have Skadi though now up for our Spectre, and he can haunt in whenever the hell he wants. Bone is going to be thrown out. They've caught somebody, and it's going to be Mizu on that Darkseer. Can they take him down in time? He's popped his BKB, and he's going to go for a run. Chuen trying to get a nice Tidebringer hit, but no, it's the other way. Still, they've got Alacrity anyway, and that's just as good. Back to the Roshan.
No worries here. The wall is going to kind of annoy them a bit, as it is a bit of a nuisance, but Roche is still not going to take too long. Without the Lesh, you're missing out on a ton of your damage. You rely on that, you rely on the wall. You're not going to be able to fight through here. So that is Roche number 2 going the way of Fnatic. They've got the Aegis. They've got the Shard given out to Chuen. So he's got the tidal wave. We talked about Kunkka towards the late game part. All this movement control from the Kunkka is just going to be such a big issue for GXR going into fights. No BKB up on the Spectre. BKB's dwindling now on your Leshrac and your Darkseer. So you do have a lot of ways of making GXR's engagement just really awkward. And once the Ags for Chuen, which he is queuing up, once that's up, with the Torrent Storm as well, it's going to be hard to fight into the Kunkka. You have to really know when to pop your BKBs, because if you pop them too early, the spells haven't been casted, you're going to have some trouble once those BKBs fade.
Absolutely. That Torrent Storm. Always a lot of fun to watch. When my FPS isn't completely tanking because of it, but you know, still fun to watch. Remember the first time that came out, and it's like it wasn't even abused. It was so ridiculous back when it was released, but just nobody used it.
Yeah, wasn't very common. It was a delight to see it the first time we saw it come out. When I believe it was, who was it, Abed back then? I can't even remember anymore. It's been a while. But when we saw it, it was like, oh yeah, that's sickening. Yeah, it people love to call it the water park, right? It comes out. I'll be honest, you know, I've never really been to a water park.
Oh.
Have you? Like,
yes,
yeah,
John.
it's like,
yes, I have.
really? I haven't. Like, I went in my technically my adulthood. I think I went when I was like 22.
Oh, how
in Singapore.
embarrassing! How embarrassing,
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, we had like a small water park in my city. It's like a, you know, just a bunch of, not even like slides, like, you know, the structure in the middle of a small pool, that kind of playground slides.
Yeah.
That's what we used to see. It wasn't like the big wild parks, you know. So I never got to experience the water park. Of course, I wouldn't want to experience a torrent storm,
Or you.
but it always makes me think about that. It's like, oh, I'm missing out. I missed out.
Maybe one day if we can, you know, get to a land or something, you know, we can find a water park nearby, John. We'll get you in there. Let you live out your childhood dreams.
Why don't we have like a major in a water park? Wouldn't that be fun? Like, once you lose, you just relax with your team there, shake it off, have a good time. Sounds like a great time.
Sounds like a hazard,
You know?
Jonathan. Sounds like a bit of a problem, you know, with all the wiring and everything else that goes around. I wouldn't recommend a water park. Doesn't sound very good. I guess Disneyland was kind of close though, right? To a water park in some way, you know. That was close.
Yeah. Man, that was 2017 or 2018?
Oh, don't
Like,
remind me. Don't
Jeez.
remind me how old I am.
Or was it 2019? It feels like forever. Like, damn, you mentioned that. I was like, huh, how long has it been? It's been a while.
It's been a while. Top lane, Raven. Looks like he wants to start forcing it out. They've got the meta available once again.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
You know? So I think you'd feel comfier here if you had your full Satanic up. But Raven, his courier is dead. Even with a gold up, he's not going to be able to... I mean, he could just probably X, and he's just going to do that. He could buy it out right now in the base, and he does. So Satanic up. How you handle this Terrorblade at this point, I'm not sure. I mean, the Scotty's been there forever in your dream, but again, Satanic active just overwhelms that healing reduction.
Oh, that it does. In your dream, he's still just trying to work towards his BKB. Raven's going to get to work. Range Rack's immediately dropped. However, Winter's Curse on the backside isn't that amazing, but it is going to get rid of DJ. They just needed Raven on the Terrorblade to hit him. Now Alacrity, though, has been caught. Nice Dual Scepter, but is it going to be enough? The Cold Embrace, it'll keep him alive for a little bit longer, but not for long. He is gone. You've still got Jokam there burrowed, though. He might be able to continue buying time, or maybe not. They just ignore him. The Tidal Wave even drags him backwards into the Sentry Ward. Oh, Chuen, he just used he dragged him back into the Sentry. Raven, still at work, gets the melee barracks now. No boots necessary for this Terrorblade. He'll slowly pace his way to that mid-tier 3 tower. Or rather, Cyclone up onto In Your Dream. He's got nowhere to go. Raven's completely ignoring the Spectre. Sunder, thank you very much for the HP In Your Dream. They do normal punch him up, but doesn't matter. In Your Dream, he's surrounded. They will at least run out of Metamorphosis. Raven, how far are you going, sir? Into the tier 4 towers onto Mizu. The Tidal Wave will not catch the Darkseer. Instead, range barracks down. He'll go for the melee barracks as well. Ping's flying out. They're going to try and stop Raven as he's walking so darn slow. Another normal punch in. Jokam's there. They'll just get to work though. They'll try to rely on those Iron Shots. Static Storm drop. Jokam, Cold Embrace going to save him for now as DJ. He's been jumped by In Your Dream. They do at least get the dieback on that Disruptor. Winter's Curse out as well. It's onto Chuen. Maybe they could really turn this fight now as the Conker's about to drop. Split Earth is there. The normal punch, the Impel, they've got him. It's a full team wipe. But you've got the Aegis on In Your Dream, but without the Metamorphosis, he has no chance. Or maybe he does. He gets the Sunder off. Alacrity, Cold Embrace is going to save it with the BKB. He's still going. Just one man on his own. Almost takes out two of them. But it is, in the end, going to be a full team wipe the way of GXR.
Yeah, they get a lot of gold from those kills. Nice swing back, but not quite enough to turn the tides. They've lost a Rax and a half overall in their lane, so they're still in a pretty dicey situation, but they're stalling out the game. They're building up on his Spectre. It is starting to line up. Looks like the Ags is done for In Your Dream. So he does have the Shadow Step. And we have seen that Shadow Step enable you to just kill off the support, go into the fight with the numbers advantage, and not need to worry about Static Storm, not need to worry about the lift back, the stolen spells on the Rubik. So there's a lot more GXR can play with. And Fnatic, even though they are up by a decent amount in gold, not much now at 4K, and they are up in map control, you need to respect the Spectre. At some point, if In Your Dream will play that way, with a Shadow Step up, just looking for the softer targets, you might not be able to take every fight now at Fnatic's end.
Things are getting very, very tense in this 5th game of this best of 5. We'll have a cheeky gander at Dota Plus, shall we? Wow, look at that, John. Dota Plus, 54% in favor of GXR. My goodness. How the tables turn.
Yeah, it's the Spectre effect. You know, you reach this point in game, 35 minutes in. I mean, In Your Dream still doesn't have a significant amount of gold over any core outside of that, but you are still within swinging distance of the Terrorblade. Like, Raven up about 5,000 gold is one major item that he has that Spec doesn't. But, oh.
Have to step in. Just threatening Chuen there. Won't lead to much. The Shadow Step, though, it's such a low cooldown. Like, what is it? 30 seconds. There you go. 30-second cooldown. He can pretty much hold anywhere across the map. I mean, it's just...
Wait. You say 30 seconds. The tooltip itself says 35, but the actual is 30. Why?
You are
Why
correct,
is that?
John. That is correct. I don't know. I don't know, John. These things cost money to change.
It's like, whatever. Beta game. It's fine. Smoke up here, Fnatic.
Yeah. Trying to go into that high ground. Everybody from GXR immediately going to leave the area. Shadow Step onto jabs. Just trying to get some vision.
You're about to hit some spikes here on the side of Fnatic. Ags slowly being built up for DJ. 100 gold away. So you'll have that AoE Doom on hand. And that makes these fights tougher for GXR if they don't manage to pop those BKBs preemptively. And then it's easier to land the chain stunts after from Chuen. He does have the Ags up. So we do have the Water Park available with a Torrent Storm. We just have to see how impactful it can be. Inside of GXR, just trying to split push as best as possible. Not going to be able to find a response here on Fnatic to punish. They are still just kind of building up. They, respect the fact that the high ground defense of GXR is strong. You've got the refresh on Mizu, double wall, double vac, more Terrorblade illusions that will cause problems, more setup for the burrowed Nyx to get the stuns off. The Ags that we talked about on DJ is up, though. So if they can get the jump first with a Static Storm, it feels a lot nicer for Fnatic. If they don't, double vac, double wall is a very scary prospect for something like the Terrorblade to fight into.
Oh, it absolutely is. The Roshan, we're going to find out in about 35 seconds when it is going to spawn. Fnatic, they'd love it right now. Alacrity going to immediately start pushing out that top wave. Fnatic definitely hoping for an early Roshan spawn timer. GXR, I'm sure they'd be happy to wait. They're in no rush right now. They're still working towards the basher up on In Your Dream. Of course, they've got tier 4 items to try and find as well, as they haven't had the most time to be able to go out into the jungle and actually start farming those up. Roshan is going to be 2 minutes 45 seconds. It's a long time. However, yeah, he's been caught out. They even dropped the Static Storm, and that's a complete mute. They just drag him across.
Yeah, that's a pretty big kill. No buyback for Alacrity. He's short gold. It's not a cooldown. He didn't buy a while ago. He's short 400 gold. So that's big. That's a big opening for Fnatic if they want to go into the high ground. They might not know that there is no buyback, but they do commit the split, so eventually they'll just slowly chip away that melee racks.
And there you go. Wall is going to block the pathing. Raven, he doesn't really want to walk through it, but he can actually reach from outside the wall. There you go. who needs to walk close to a building when you've got a dragon lance?
Bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle barracks has
No
Easy
one.
peasy.
Yeah, perfectly balanced coming out. Shadow Step again, just checking out. I think you really would want to be able to kill off one hero with a Shadow Step before breaking up the fights, but look at Fnatic. They mainly stick together. There's no opportunity to look for those easy kills. Roshan's still a minute and a half away, so Fnatic's not going to be able to take that out just yet. And that's going to give enough time for the respawn on Alacrity to be back up. It's just going to be able to join the team fight. Has to watch his goal though. Like if that happens again, say around a Roche, that could be endgame. GXR, they do smoke up. They've got Haunt, they've got Winter's Curse ready, they've got the Blink on Paulson to get himself in a good spot. Unfortunate for them, Roshan is still down. But there's a double damage rune.
Of course.
So that could be nice for either side.
Yeah. DD Rune prepared for this moment. And Chuen, he's going to be able to pick that up for himself, put it in the bottle. Those Tidebringer hits really going to start to hurt now. And Roshan's up in 47 seconds. Plenty of time to try and abuse that double damage rune beforehand. EXR, still getting some great farm up, almost at the basher of In Your Dream, but if he does buy it out soon, he'll be left without buyback gold. So he might need to just kind of keep farming up and trying to escalate. Of course, Raven going for that Aghanim Scepter, needs the Terror Wave up to have the second Metamorphosis. Pretty standard kind of stuff for him.
Yeah. He's starting to run out of inventory slots though. I guess at this point you really will have to just toss the boots away. And just kind of hope that you've got the range, you've got the control elsewhere to get the targets to you. We have seen Chuen be really on point with the Tidal Wave drag back, so I guess in the end it's not going to be a massive issue for Raven there. Roshan does respawn. Vision game control from both sides. They're kind of standing around the ramps leading into Roshan. And GXR still has big play opportunities. They're already bored on Jokam. He's set up for those stunts, and they still have the Winter's Curse and Paulson.
Nice refreshing shot available on that Roshan as well. Be very, very good for multiple heroes on Fnatic. Like you've got the double Static Storm, the double Meta, the double Primal Split, hell, the double Tidal Wave and the Torrent Storm and the boats, everything. Everything you can ask for here. GXR, of course, they could have triple wars going on. Triple vacuums. God knows how many iron shells they could have on the map. Be amazing.
Yeah. It would be a huge amount of control. Fnatic respecting that AoE control coming out from GXR, so they don't fully commit. They can at least keep these waves shoved out, so eventually a response will have to come through from GXR. Looks like they might
The Shadow Step.
pick off first.
Raven, not going to really take any damage from it anyway. Not really too concerned by it. Gwen, he has popped the DD rune, but you've got these reoccurring split earths going on right now in the Roshan pit. So you can't exactly make your way in. In fact, Alacrity is slowly finishing Roshan's life off here. It's like they're trying to perma-stun it. So it just sits in the same spot and gets continuously just stunned up and takes more damage. What did Roshan do to deserve this kind of treatment?
Oh,
Torrent is out. Tidal Wave. Not going to drag him back. A nice curse there onto Chuen, but the stun is out onto the TB. So Chuen, he's going to survive long enough to get the bow down in time, but the Impel going to hold him down. They should be able to finish him, and they do. Raven, who are you aiming for? He's trying to go after Jokam, but he's just healthy. Instead, they'll go back in onto In Your Dream. No, they'll go after Mizu instead. Go after that Darkseer, but he's fine. He's out of there. Alacrity, In Your Dream, Jokam all still around as the Torrent does connect on two again. A great Tidal Wave bringing him back into the TB. Raven, he'll step back for a second. Jokam, he's still being targeted, but no, they finally get the Spectre. In Your Dream's down, but he will have buyback. And he will commit it immediately. Back right in with the Shadow Step going on to the Terrorblade. Raven's down. He does have buyback, but they also got DJ. The buybacks are coming out. Alacrity, he'll keep going onto that Brewmaster. They are going to find another death on the side of Fnatic. Immediate buybacks out from Death. They can't afford to let the Roshan go down. But GXR, they're in a prime position now
Are scanning.
to try and force a bad team fight from Fnatic.
Is under attack.
Hell, they just did. They just need one more, and this game could potentially be over. Roshan, again, be taken down. Tidal Wave is there, but Winter's Curse, Paulson. He puts an end to it all onto Chuen. Burrow is there from JoeCamp to hold them down. Spy Carapace on 3, and now the follow-up. They've got Chuen down. He's got no buyback. Raven, he's going to pop the Terror Wave. He's got 10 seconds of meta, but he's doing no damage. Still a nice impale jabs. Holds them down onto the Leshrac. The meta's over, but they got Alacrity, but he's going to buy back. Now Death, another Primal split out, but Raven, he's in big trouble. He's dropping so darn low. They'll jump in. The impale's there. JoeCamp secures the kill on the next assassin. Now in your dreams onto DJ. They'll get 4 down without buyback.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. And Roshan is going to go the way of GXR. That's a refresher shard on In Your Dream. Aegis the way of Alacrity. Cheese onto the Spectre. And I said it was going to be GG. I mean, it's not quite. But if you can get through this tier 2 and tier 3 tower fast enough, you can try to force tier 4s here. You do still have a Leshrac. So that Diabolic Edict, it's going to rip through them.
It absolutely is, especially since you went for the 25 talent, of course, for the plus 30 Edict explosion, so it won't take too long. And the two-man defense has to stall for at least 40, 50 seconds, really. And I just don't see that coming out. Maybe if that gets good use on Split, although Jabs.
Yeah, Jabs, he just bought back. He is gone. Tips out immediately. They're onto the tier 4 towers. They know. Fnatic. Oh, it's been a long and gruesome kind of day for them. And that's it, they call it. GG well played, congratulations GXR, they make the reverse sweep. And they will be your grand champions of the Loopet Pro Series Season 7. I can't believe it, John, I really can't.
Oh my god. You know, there was a big moment there by that Roche fight where I think that really cost Raven. He Hurricane Pike down to the low ground, right into Mizu, and Mizu just normal punched him into the wall. Like, that was just ridiculous. They had so much control. The illusion spam coming through there from GXR just eventually overwhelmed. The Spectre got big and tanky enough that you did have amazing damage and sustain on the side of Fnatic, but so did GXR. They had the tankiness in the Spectre, they had the sustain coming through from Paulson. The Cold Embraces just stalled out those fights from Fnatic for way too long. They could never catch the backline the way they wanted to on Fnatic's end. And they just go all in on a Roshan that doesn't pan out their way. GXR, they had the patience once more in this game to just build up on their Spectre, hold off until the late game, get all those refreshes, get the Ags up in their necks. Like, at some point, you know, JoeCam, he just went Ags. When their racks up top and their range racks was gone, he just bought Ags, and he just had such big impact in the team fights because they had that combination with a vac wall, and they had to sustain, I mean, Burrow with the Cold Embrace. Just so much. JoeCam wasn't dying. Damage reduction and the heal. Like, what more could you ask for? GXR play their hearts out. I know chat was memeing about reverse sweep. It came out, GXR. And they win the Loot Bet Pro Series 7. Like, damn.
Man, I just can't believe how it's happened. And it looks like we've got Paulson coming in for an interview, John, so we'll drag him. Oh, he's gone. He's just left. He's had enough already. He saw who he had to talk to, and he's like, nope, I've had enough. I don't want to talk to these guys.
No, there he is again. There he is again.
Hello, Paulson. Congratulations on your victory in the Loopet Pro Series Season 7, sir. How are you doing? How are you feeling right now?
Thanks. We are all feeling great after the comeback and also the reverse sweep, right? So, yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable. Talk me through it. I mean, you lost Game 1 and Game 2. What changed in Game 2, Game 3, 4, and 5? What did you guys change up to force the reverse sweep?
Basically, we just thought about it. We just keep our calm, keep our composure as well, and then we just basically change out a bit of our jobs as well to fight to have a different approach against like Fnatic's strategies against us, because we felt that they wanted to play fast against us because they thought we were quite slow because of our jobs, but we sort of changed it up a little bit. Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah. Fair enough. You guys managed to win out here, of course, in the Lootbet Pro Series 7. I'm curious, any plans to celebrate? I mean, there's not much people can do right now, but do you guys plan to have a little get together as a team, even virtually, just to kind of celebrate that win? Big win?
Not really, because our main objective is just probably the next DPC season, and then we'll just probably just use the next 1 week to have a break and then just prepare for the next upcoming maybe BTS or so. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Just staying motivated for the bigger targets on site. I'm curious to see what do you guys want to do going forward, right? Like, there's a lot of downtime until the DPC kicks back in. Do you guys just intend to keep practicing hard like this? You mentioned just taking a week off, going to more tournaments. Are you guys looking to play more tournaments after as well? I know there's a lot happening in Southeast Asia right now.
It really depends on the tournament caliber, because some tournaments they are just mix of China and the Southeast Asia tournaments. So those events we try to avoid as much as we can, because of the ping as well. And yeah, we'll just play probably BTS and whatever that's of a decent price pool. Yep.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, with that, I don't want to ask this so early because it's such a long time away. But you guys are looking fantastic going into the next DPC season. How confident are you guys are going to be able to force it to the upper division for GXR? I mean, you guys look amazing right now.
To be frank, we were pretty confident going into the tier qualifiers, but it was pretty unfortunate because we just formed this team just before season 2 ended, and we have to end up in the lower division because of that, and we are kind of stuck in the lower bracket at the start of tier qualifiers, or else we were super confident going to tier qualifiers that we could have gotten top 2 at least, or even win the thing.
Wow.
But yep.
Well, there you go. With that, Paulson, I won't take too much more of your time, but do you have any words to the fans? There's been a lot of fans. They've been spamming Kami-san or Summer or whatever else John's been saying to me. They've been rooting for you guys on the side of Galaxy Racer Esports. You got any words for them?
Yeah, thank you guys for rooting for us, especially all the ones that stay with us throughout. Yep. Thank you very much.
All right,
shout out to our sponsors as well, GXR.
There you go. Shout out to them. Paulson, thank you very much. I hope you have a fantastic night, and congratulations once again.
Yeah,
yep,
congratulations.
Thank you. That's the lovely Paulson. I mean, they must be excited right now, obviously, just like pulling off a 3-2 reverse sweep. I wouldn't blame them, John. I'd be excited too. Unbelievable.
Ooh.
Unbelievable. I didn't think they were going to do it after those first 2 games. Like, Fnatic, they looked so dominant, and just after that third game, they just got the momentum back their way, and they just did GXR things.
Yeah, I guess all the chat spam for Kami-sama to come out just went online. He started delivering the goods. He became God for the team. But it wasn't just in your dream. Paulson with the cold embraces this game. Mizu with a vac waltz, the positioning of Jokam, Alacrity space making on the Lesh, and his pushes coming out. It all lined up. They worked as a fabulous unit, a very close-knit series between both teams. It's tough for Fnatic, and my heart goes out to them. They played 7 brutal games today. Like, the first series looked really clean. The first 2 games in this series looked really clean. And then maybe, I'm sure there was a method to the madness in that 3rd game with the draft, but the shift out definitely takes a toll on you, right? And GXR, they just managed to really hold steady. I mean, after you lose those first 2 games in that fashion and that speed from Fnatic, it also causes like a mental strain, but they managed to hold it together. They pulled through. And it's just great hearing from him. Even the interview, right? Paulson doesn't even think much about winning this. He's like eyes forward, locked in DPC. They want the big stuff, and it's just great to see that motivation in the team in a set of players like that.
Well, I don't blame them. When you've got this much potential as a team, of course you want to look towards the bigger stuff. I mean, this is it's good money, but ultimately, obviously, they want the big prize. They want to be at majors. They want to be at TIs, and obviously the upper division of the DPC. Nevertheless, they've won this. It's a great start for them. And again, they've looked fantastic. With that, John, that is it, though. That's all the games for Southeast Asia. That's why we love Southeast Asia so much. You just never know what's going to happen. And every time we host the Pro Series, something different does occur. But with that, Shout out to our sponsors, of course, Loopbet and Mate for even making this this tournament possible. Hopefully, we'll be back very, very soon. And of course, I believe America is still going as well, right? If I am correct, John. So if you were wanting to tune into more Dota, at least for the Loopbet Pro Series 7, you've got the American region you can watch. Apart from that, though, it is MLP Dota and JohnXFire. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we'll catch you again next time. See you then.